Hi everyone, let's get started. We'll see who else filters in, but I don't want to keep you waiting too long. Welcome and thanks for joining Ming and I today. I'm Natalie, the marketing lead of Spark 64. We are an applied artificial intelligence agency based in Auckland Central, working towards helping businesses leverage AI. So we work from the ground level, from conceptualization all the way to implementation and continual management of AI projects. We've worked for a large variety of industries, including insurance, education, food, retail, aviation, and have done many of these projects in partnership with Unique Digital Humans, Google, and IBM. In terms of call center and conversational AI, which is what you're interested in today, we've been working with Southern Cross, the University of Auckland, and companies around the world in the US, Australia, and Japan to help them out on this conversational AI journey. So with me today to help guide you through all the ways you can integrate AI into your contact center is Ming Cheuk, our AI guru and CTO. So he is a Google certified cloud architect, and he's had tons of experience designing and deploying AI to enterprise environments. Before I pass on to him, just a reminder that this webinar is being recorded, so I'll make that available to you afterwards and any resources that we mentioned today. If you have any questions, please use the Q&A function, which is located at the bottom of your screen throughout the talk, and we'll have time for Ming to go through them at the end of the session. Alrighty, hope you're comfortable, have your cuppa or lunch with you, and I'll pass it on to Ming. Thank you.
Cool, thanks a lot, Natalie. So I'll just let me share my screen and let's kick off the webinar. All right then. So today we are going to be talking about how, and all the different ways you can integrate AI into your contact center environment. As Natalie mentioned, I'm a co-founder of Spark 64, applied AI company. But today I'm not here to talk about Spark 64, but more how you can leverage AI into your own contact center, whether you're thinking about it now, doing it already. I'm really going to cover quite a few aspects here. So just before I start, a little bit about what to expect. Just see, cool, that's working. So I'm going to be covering off quite a few aspects of putting AI in contact center, whether it's customer facing or in the back office, improving your processes and improving the staff experience. We'll also take a look at how we can put that all together with some of the solutions that are out there already, which makes leveraging this stuff very simple. And revisit a question, can AI do it all? So I think I'll just start off with a bit of introduction in AI and how its role in the contact center. So what is AI? There's quite a few different definitions out there, but I like to think of it as machines trying to be humans, trying to do what humans can do in terms of seeing the world and also being able to understand humans as well in terms of communication and speech. So the seeing part is under a category called computer vision, and the understanding and the communication part is something called natural language processing. So you'll hear me use those terms in this webinar. And how does AI really play a role in the contact center itself? Now, in contact center environment, when it comes to support, there are humans involved, both from the staff point of view and also from the customer's point of view. So traditionally, this has been quite hard for machines to understand what's going on in a contact center, and in terms of the messages and the communication that's happening back and forth. But with the help of AI, we can start to have machines make sense of this data and start to make decisions, drive decisions based on aggregating this data at scale. So when you think of AI in contact centers, one very common example when the thing that everybody thinks about, chatbots, and you've probably encountered one, I'm sure, and you might actually have one in your contact center already. So this is quite a I guess a visible and a common deployment of AI right now, but definitely not the only deployment of AI in contact centers. So aside from chatbots, you can also bring in AI in terms of an intelligent IVR. So you might have encountered this, where instead of doing the standard press 1, press 2. You can actually ask the user or ask the customer what they're after, and have natural language interpret that, direct them to the right place. You can also put a face to your virtual agent, and this is where you can add another layer of interaction in terms of the human emotion. We've found, at least, that people are less likely to yell at a digital human than a chatbot from experience. But there are also non-customer facing applications as well. Things that are really driving efficiency in the back office. So having bots look at all of your transcripts, and doing that at scale, especially if you've got thousands of calls happening per day. No one wants to listen to hours of recordings. When you extract the information out of those transcripts, you can then start doing insights. You can start doing predictive analytics on them to forecast demand, future demand, to better prepare your contact center. And then there's another increasingly common application now, and that's agent assist. So having some agent, a virtual agent in the background, listening to what's going on and suggesting, let's say, relevant knowledge-based articles, suggesting things that the agent can do, quick replies, etc., to really make the agent's experience better and really improve their efficiency. So we'll touch into these in a bit more detail later. So big question is, can AI replace human agents entirely? So we'll actually visit this question again at the end of the webinar, and based on what we've talked about, see where we land. But what we'll also do, with I think Natalie's already done, is set up a poll for you to also answer what you think about this question, whether AI can replace human agents entirely. So let's start off with the customer-facing applications. So these are the virtual agents, the agents that your customers interact directly with. So the holy grail of a virtual agent is one that can understand what the user really wants, even if the user doesn't sometimes doesn't know what they really want. Understanding the nuances of the questions, being able to show some empathy, especially if they've had a really tough time with their account, for example, and then do all the back office tasks, do all the processing to fix the problem itself, and being able to adapt to sudden spikes in demand. So that's the ideal virtual agent. Unfortunately, we don't. The AI is not there to be able to do all of that, to execute on all of that perfectly. So just setting some expectations. Sorry to shatter anyone's view, but having said that, there's still a lot of things, a lot of tasks and use cases that the virtual agents can do really well, and we'll touch on that. Some of examples of where it does work really well. So starting simple. One of the applications we can bring AI into is being able to direct customers to the right place when they call in. So when someone calls in, you either have an IVR where they press 1 or press 2. Takes me I'm pretty sure half a minute to listen through all the options. But just give the person an option to ask, or just say what they want to do. We can use some natural language processing to process the intent, to match it to what does a customer want, and then it can start off with just directing them to the right department. And from people who I've talked to, as from a customer's perspective, rather than a contact center's perspective, one of the things that people hate are having to repeat their questions because they got transferred to the wrong person and they have to repeat the question. Waste time for both parties. And if it's a simple question, you can actually put an agent on the other end and answer the question directly. Simple stuff like, forgot my password, which there is a surprising amount of questions like that we've seen in quite a few different contact center environments. So you can also extend this to two-way conversations as well, and extend this outside of the telephone setting, and extend this into the web. So with the web, as I mentioned before, you have chatbots. So with chatbots, you have a bit more room, a bit more screen real estate to be able to take them through, like a multi-step process. You can present button options for them to, choose if it's quite a defined journey. And you can also provide a few more interactive elements beyond just conversation, which is really nice. You can even contextualize it based on the web page that they're on. Another, web application, also possibly kiosk application, is adding a face to your virtual agent through digital humans. And this is a unique digital human that I'm showing you, which I'll demo in a bit, and we can talk a bit more about it. Basically, there's a few ways you can expose your virtual agent in a web setting. And like I mentioned before, there's quite a few use cases that work better than others. Some of the use cases we've found in triaging issues, whether it's people calling in and just finding out what they want, directing them to the right place. Frequently asked questions where, some people, you'd be surprised, personally, I wouldn't call up a contact center if it's a simple problem. But I think a lot of cases people do still do that, and I don't blame them, because they just want to talk to someone about it. So fielding some of those simple things so that the contact center agents can focus on some of the more complex issues that only a human can help with. And then really nice example of bringing in conversational AI is simplifying complex tasks into a single request. I'm talking about processes that normally take the customer multiple steps, like booking a flight. You have to go search for a flight, enter where you want to go, when to and where, when. Another example here, this is actually live, is in the UOA assistant. If you just want to find a building, instead of having to go through several screens to find the map or the directory and find a building code, you can just ask, how do I get to Munchie Mart? And it will give you the directions, which you can click on. It will give you like a route, give you the map as well. So these are just a few ways where virtual agents do work really well, because they can call on multiple systems in the background to leverage, to be able to provide the answer. Cool. Just to check in, any I guess, burning questions? Cool. So I'll move on to a demo, and because everybody loves demos, except the demo gods, which hopefully won't break today's demo, but we'll see. So I'm just going to pause the screen share for a bit, because I'm going to do a live demo of something I built in 10 minutes yesterday. So somewhat risky of it going wrong, but we'll find out. First demo I want to do is putting a virtual agent in the call center over the phone to field, the first question, basically. So what I'm going to do is, let me see if I've got everything ready. So I've got my microphone ready, got my phone here. I'm going to actually call into this virtual agent that I just created. So hopefully I'm calling into the right one, because I created a few. So I'm going to put this on speaker. Hopefully you can hear this. Should be able to.
Hi there. Welcome to the TechWeek demo. How can I help?
Hi. I forgot my password. Can you help me?
Sure, I can try help. When you go to log in, click Forgot Password underneath the password field, and it will take you through the reset procedure. Did that answer your question?
No, not really. I mean, I tried that already, but it asked for things I didn't have.
No worries. Let me direct you to one of our specialists in the accounts team to help you with this.
Cool. So as you can see, it it tried to resolve my answer, resolve my question. It couldn't. So then it decided to route me to a specialist. The bot's not entirely hard coded. I've thrown a few extra features like.
I missed what you said. What was that?
What's 5 plus 3? What's 5 plus 3?
Can you say that again?
What's 5 plus 3?
5 divided by 3 is approximately 1.66667.
So as you can see that there are, and there's a lot of refinement that you can do with the voice, which actually is a nice segue to what I was going to talk about. Some of this, a lot of these virtual agents on the phone rely on speech to text recognition, and especially in a contact center environment where you have quite specific terminology for your contact center. Some off-the-shelf speech models, which I was using, don't work as well. But there are now quite a few options where you can actually bring in your own data and bring in your own domain so that it's more likely to recognize the words and the phrases that your customers actually ask. So yeah, so this was a little 5 to 10 minute demo I built real quickly, just to show how easy it is actually to spin one of these up now. Another thing I'll show you is an actual application out there that we did for a customer, which shows a lot of things at once actually. So let me just bring up the screen. I'm just gonna share that again. Cool, I'm gonna exit this real quick. Sweet. So this is a digital human that we built for a customer over in the US called Arcus Lending. Really great example of where we've tied in conversational AI, integration of backend systems, the interactive ability, the ability to serve up interactive dialogue because you are on a website. So let me show you. And this was actually the first digital human in the world in the mortgage industry. So let's connect to Rachel. Let's hopefully the sound goes through, because I forgot whether or not I checked whether the sound goes through.
My name is Rachel, and I'm a world first for helping people with their mortgage questions. How can I assist?
Cool. So hopefully either the sound came through the speaker or through my computer. And you can see that, she's introduced herself. There's a few different options you can select. You can also hold a space bar to talk, but I think my microphone's being used by Zoom, so I'm not going to try that. Let's click one of the options.
I can send you the instructions to get pre-approved. What is your email address?
So, you can start typing stuff in. Because this is an email address and it's hard even for humans sometimes to pick up an email address over the phone, we get the user to type that in. But maybe I'll try something else. Let's see if this works. What states are you licensed in?
We are currently licensed in 19 states and waiting on approval from a few more states. Here is the complete list of states we are licensed in.
When you have a lot of information to present, you don't want to say it all out. You can just pop that up on the screen. It's got integrations with their loan management system as well. So let's try this, see if this works. So what's the status on my loan?
Sure. Could you please type in the last 4 digits of your social security number?
Cool. So yeah, so it is integrated. So I can give a last 4 and also a zip code, and I'll check the progress on my loan. So yeah, so this will demo a few things at once, the conversational AI, as I mentioned. Another thing is if the audio routed properly, you should have heard the voice in pretty high quality. Synthesized voices are getting really good now these days. This is a company called Well Said, and it's definitely a lot less robotic than even your Google Home or Siri. Cool. So yeah, so as you can see, if you do it well, there are quite a few ways you can create a very good virtual agent, and if you do it right, there are savings to be had. So this was a report done by Forrester, commissioned by IBM to survey a bunch of IBM's customers using Watson Assistant to see what kind of savings they had in their organization. So they created this composite organization based on all of the organizations they've interviewed, and found a few really good metrics, like just directing people to the right place is already a huge saving. 6.7 million in a year for, I think it was a 10 billion revenue company, and contained conversations as well. So what contained conversations are the virtual agent is able to answer the question on the spot. They don't have to route it to a human. That saved them a whopping 13 million a year. And just improving the workflow of the service agent themselves, that's saved 1 million. And I'll talk a bit more about improving the workflow of the contact center agent a little later when I go into the back office processes. Another kind of use case, real use case, last year, state of Illinois, they deployed a virtual agent over the phone to help with the surge of callers asking for help to file claims for unemployment claims during COVID. So they rolled this out using Google's contact center AI. And yeah, this virtual agent handled, actually both on the phone and on web, and it's handled 140,000 phone inquiries, 40,000 that after hours. And they did save a whopping, well, estimated to have saved a whopping $100 million, based on what would have been a person's time. So as you can see, there's a lot of things you can do, and there's actually quite a lot of platforms out there. I mentioned one, Google, and quite a few. There are different platforms all having different advantages and disadvantages, and picking which one is right for you really depends on your particular use case. So, some of the questions that are top usually that we ask are, how complex is the dialogue that you want to deliver? How complex are the processes? Because different platforms will have different levels of complexity that you can build. Who's going to maintain it? Do you have a team of developers, or are you going to have the contact center staff maintain it, which is actually becoming more and more common, and is actually, my personal opinion, the right way to go, because they are the ones, day-to-day dealing with customers. And then, whether it integrates with your existing contact center solution. And a lot of contact center solutions support integrating a lot of these conversational AI platforms. So, so we've actually recently released a white paper on this, and Natalie will send this to everyone along with the recording of the seminar at the end of the session. So yeah, if you are wondering, what conversational AI platform should I go with, you can take a look at our insights based on our experiences. Cool. So now looking into the back office processes. So these are looking into things that we can bring AI to help make faster, more efficient in a back office context rather than a customer facing context. So one of the things I touched on earlier is being able to process conversations that are happening. This data that you might already have, processing them at scale to pick up insights into what customers are talking about, what customers are calling in about, how well did the conversation go, and being able to understand that at scale is very, very beneficial for you to improve the processes of your contact center. And again, I mentioned before, it is a pain for someone to listen to hours and hours of these conversations or read lots and lots of these transcripts. So here's a fictional one I invented. Can't show a real one for obvious reasons, but NLP, natural language processing, has a few useful things we can do. We can start looking at, what is the topic of the conversation. So here, we can tag the topic as a billing issue. You might want to dig deeper into what type of billing issue it is as well, if you've got that sort of segregation in your contact center. You can start, in some cases, it is important to mask out private information. So, you might want to use some AI to scrub out all of the personal identifiable information before you share it for review and training purposes, especially if you're in a quite a, let's see, restrictive setting like in healthcare, where a lot of things are confidential. And, just seeing how the conversation went in general in terms of sentiment. And this is something I will demo because it is quite an interesting space, and it really demonstrates how far natural language processing has come over the years. So again, demo time. Now, what I'm going to demo is something that was released last year by a company called OpenAI, and they released a natural language model called GPT-3. So I can't actually demo this live online, but we are going to do like a live interactive demo session in the office at some point. So if you're interested, let Natalie or myself know after or now, and we can put you on the list. But for now, I'm going to demo some of the stuff that we've tried before the session, screen capped it, and now I'm sharing. Just take my word that this was the real outputs from the AI model. So the problem we looked at was, how good is AI now in terms of detecting sentiment, especially in tricky situations. And some of the tricky situations are like the ones I'm showing here, where first one, wow, genius, like my 2-year-old couldn't do that. So traditional, or a lot of other APIs out there will take this and see all these positive words in the sentence, like, wow, genius, think that it's either at least neutral, sometimes positive, a positive statement, but this is not really a positive statement. It's kind of negative if you read into it. And similar example in the second one where, it's quite a negative scenario, but, it's kind of flipped around with that last part of the sentence. So some of those subtleties that can change the meaning of a sentence entirely. Again, more statistics-based APIs would count that as negative because, well, to be fair, it is a pretty negative sentence, but GPT-3 has actually looked at that subtlety there and gone, okay, no, this is actually, a positive thing here. So those were 2 examples I came up with, but then I posed this question to the company to come up with what are the most passive-aggressive examples of comments that people could be making to the contact center to see if we can trick the AI. Here's one that I love. Thank you for giving me the same, thank you so much for giving me the same information your web portal shows me. Very positive sentence. And to be fair, when I first ran it GPT-3 in the basic sentiment classifier, it also actually did detect as positive, but I did change the question around, posed a different question for GPT-3. I went, is the customer satisfied in the situation? So tuned it a bit to solve this sort of problem. And the response from GPT-3 is, no, not really. And one thing I was surprised, and it's not just guessing, is they actually told me why they were not satisfied. It's because they didn't get the information they needed, they really needed. So it's not just guessing. And another situation, so glad I spent 2 hours waiting on hold for this. Again, put it through a normal engine. Probably say it's positive because of the so glad part. But again, ask GPT-3, are they satisfied? And no, again, not. In this case, I didn't say why, so I actually followed up with, I asked, why were they not satisfied? And then it's identified they were not satisfied because they had to wait on hold for 2 hours, which is exactly the problem. So as you can see, the natural language models are getting quite good now at, detecting quite subtle, let's see, passive aggressiveness, for lack of better words. To be fair, that probably wasn't subtle at all if you read it as a human. Not a few tests just to make sure that it wasn't just guessing, yes or no, we just got lucky. Simple one, really quick service, cheers, yep, they're satisfied. Usually hate dealing with customer service, but James is different. Really listen to my problems, solve my issue quickly. Customer, yep, customer satisfied. Now, same sentence, but I changed it a bit. James was different. He made me never want to deal with people again. In this case, probably not satisfied. I don't know if anyone actually gets this sort of feedback, but I'm sure it happens, which is what I feel sorry for the other person, the person on the other side working with this customer. Excuse me, I'm just going to take a drink of water. Cool. All right, so that's a little cool demo I wanted to show you that I thought was really cool personally. As someone who's been in the natural language space for a while, it's impressed myself even. So moving on, once you can actually process all of this unstructured information that you've got, the data that you've probably already got, you can start, extracting insights out of this, categorizing, like over some period of time, what exactly are the issues and what are the problems that people are calling in about. And, you might have already categorized that it's billing, but, what part of billing is it? High bill charges, payment confirmation. This little table, again, I can't show actual data, but this was the one I screen capped from a McKinsey report on, I think, aggregated reasons of why of billing issues, basically. But you can start looking, you can start extracting this for your own contact center at real time. Let's go next. And once you've actually extracted these insights from the unstructured data, you can actually start doing some forecasting as well. So not only, quantitative forecasting, which already happens, which can predict seasonality and predict increasing trends, but start breaking that down into, finding seasonality patterns for specific issues like billing issues, or there might be a time of the year where everybody starts renewing their plan. That's when you get a spike of, charges too high, for example. So really powerful once you can start making sense of that data using machines. So this is kind of a post-analysis, post-call analysis. What about during a call? What about helping the contact center agent in real time? Now, here's where I want to touch on Agent Assist. And thankfully, Google's actually done a video demonstrating their solution on this. So I'm going to play this. It's only like a half a minute video, 1 minute video. So they can explain the concept, and I can drink some more water and not lose my voice.
Introducing Google Cloud Agent Assist, one of the core products of the Google Contact Center AI solution, a powerful tool that transforms contact centers by empowering human agents with continuous support. Agent Assist uses conversational AI technology to help live customer service agents formulate responses and find answers to issues through both voice and text channels. Smart Reply surfaces contextual responses, while Smart Compose can autocomplete. Models are trained from agent transcripts and learn to make suggestions in ways that align with your brand's voice. Robust management of the set of available messages allows you to enable these features with confidence. As a conversation progresses, Knowledge Assist surfaces helpful articles and relevant FAQs. Agents can spend less time searching for answers and can focus on providing a better customer experience.
Cool. So yeah, standard background corporate video music aside, they've demonstrated quite a few neat features, being able to suggest replies to agents that's trained on previous transcripts, and that captures a lot of the knowledge that more experienced agents have, which really helps for onboarding new agents, especially in such a high turnover environment like a contact center. And also being able to pull up relevant information to the agent so that they don't have to search for it themselves. Cutting that 5-10 seconds searching it can really, well, one, save time, but two, also just let the agent themselves focus more on serving the customer rather than trying to work the systems, which should lead to a better quality experience for the customer as well. And this Agent Assist has been backed up with some real stats, and this was from a few of their customers that have implemented Agent Assist, which they've found being able to handle 28% more conversations just by being more efficient, more consistency in the replies as well, improving the customer satisfaction score, and also just being able to respond quicker, not having to type up very common replies, having those surfaced up as the conversation's going. So that's pretty cool to see. Cool. So far I've shown you a lot of different bits and pieces across different parts of the contact center you can put some AI in, but how do you bring this all together? So fortunately, this has been a big focus for a lot of companies, both cloud vendors and also contact center software organizations as well. I demoed Contact Center AI, which virtual agent, agent assist is one component of it, but they also bring in the virtual agents part, the insights part, and connecting that with your backend systems and your telephony, which I demoed previously before, and it plugs into your Genesis, Twilios, etc. So that's one offering. And there's a few other offerings from other, I'm just going to skip ahead real quick. There's a few other offerings from other vendors as well. So SaaS solutions like Amazon. Well, Amazon provides one, AWS provides one. That's all in one. Because it's a complete SaaS solution. It makes integrating the smarts of AI in very easy as well. Transcription and topic analysis, and a few of the other contact center platforms like NICE, Brightpattern, Zendesk, all have some sort of connectors either out of the box or ones that you can build on top of the API. So yeah, again, bring this all together. I might just show one more video. I promise this is somewhat short, just to kind of show a full experience from the customer's point of view and also the contact center agent's point of view, just to tie everything together. Shouldn't be too long.
Hi, Prisha. Thanks for calling our phone company. How can I help?
I'd like to make a payment.
Great. Can you please verify your address?
15 State Street. Oh, and how much is it?
Virtual Agent provides immediate conversational support with customers directing the flow.
Your balance is $60. Do you want to pay with the account ending in 1337?
Yes, please.
Done. I've sent an email confirmation. Is there anything else?
Virtual Agent can take care of basic fulfillment on the spot.
Yes, actually, there's a $18 charge I don't recognize.
From last week? It looks like you exceeded your data limit.
Oh, that's not fair. I wasn't told.
Okay, let me transfer you to a specialist to help.
More complex cases are seamlessly handed off to a human agent.
Hi, Prisha. I'm Elliot. I see you're concerned about an extra data cost.
Yeah, I didn't know I went over and would have to pay.
Okay, I can waive the charges this time, but would you like to upgrade to unlimited data for just $5 more so it doesn't happen again?
Agent Assist listens in, giving real-time, step-by-step guidance.
Yes, please.
Okay, I've updated your plan. Is there anything else?
No, this was great. Thanks a lot.
Lastly, Insights gives you real-time visibility into key call drivers and sentiment.
Cool. So that was a neat little, I guess, video kind of summarizing everything we talked about, all parts of the journey, from the customer's point of view, from the agent's point of view, and also the post-call analytics. So just why I thought that video was pretty neat. Cool. So now revisiting the question that I posed earlier in the webinar, can AI do all of it? Now, what I'm going to do, actually, Natalie, can you end the poll and let's see what everybody thought. Cool. So, so no one said yes. 44% said no, and 56% said someday. And my response is pretty similar. Not right now, actually. Not right now, at least. Will AI replace your current contact center workforce? There are things that virtual agents and AI can do really well, both customer-facing and the back office. But there's also a lot of things that it's not going to be able to replace a human. And the important thing is, having it work together with your human workforce, work with them, making their lives easier and helping them out so that they can focus on the really hard stuff that humans are really, really good at. And when should you start bringing AI into your contact center? One of the things that we always we always stress is don't just throw in AI for the sake of throwing in some AI. Do look to see whether there are other low-hanging fruits that you can fix or improve on. For example, making some of the existing channels for self-service, like your web portal, a lot easier. And just with this digital day and age, it's almost an expectation to have a lot of things that's self-serve. But that's not easy. Obviously, if all of that was fixable and all of that was easy to do, we wouldn't really be having these issues in the first place. Same with fixing the issue at a core. If it is something that's an easy fix that. But again, things will pop up when you least expect it. So, and it's being able to prepare for those situations where having a contact center, having the AI help your contact center can really be beneficial. Yeah, so that's does bring us pretty much to the end of the talk. Really, just to summarize, I've shown quite a few different ways you can leverage what's out there and how you can bring into your contact center. There's huge advancements in the AI research space, especially in natural language processing. As I demoed before, it's getting pretty good at understanding what humans actually mean and what they write, which has been traditionally pretty difficult. And the barrier to entry in bringing some of this into your contact center is a lot lower than it was 3 years ago, because as I mentioned, a lot of things are either out of the box or done with easy integrations. You might already have existing data that just hasn't been looked at, that you've collected over the years that you can start extracting insights from using NLP, using predictive modeling, that will really, you can already start getting some benefits from. Cool. So that's cool. All right. So that's all I have. Thanks everybody for joining. Now I'm going to open up for questions, and I think there's a few questions in the chat already. The first question, this is why we use the language of augmentation rather than automation and workflows and then introducing AI tools. So that's a very good comment. Thanks, Chris. Augment is a really good word that I always like to use, using, bringing an AI to augment your contact center, not to replace, not to be in place of. And not just in the contact center, but just in general, AI is getting to a point where it does some things really well, and some things, not so well, that might be trivial to humans. So it's about figuring out what the AI does well, did the AI do that at scale, and then know when to pass it back to the humans. But you've already saved a portion of that time already by really understanding what it can and can't do. Thanks, Chris. Cool. Any other questions? Anyone can put their hands up if they want. Cool. All right. There is, so I do have one demo reserved for the end if anyone was interested. It is quite a cutting edge demo that is not something we've made public because it's very much in the research space. But before I get to that demo, maybe Natalie, do you want to just say a few words to kind of finish this off? And anyone who is interested in this mysterious demo that I've got in the works, feel free to stay.
Alrighty, so thank you all for joining us. I hope you found that informative and kind of brought about new ideas you could implement into your own contact centers. Now, I'll be sure to send you the recording link so that you can go look at it if you missed anything, as well as send you the white paper about helping you choose which conversational AI platform to adopt, and anything else that we mentioned. Any further questions, email Ming. Yeah, we'll let you get going with your day. Happy tech weeking. Thanks.
Cool, awesome. Thanks, Natalie. So I'm just prepping this demo now. let me give a bit of context first. So some of you might have heard about open domain chatbots. And last year, I think it was last year, Facebook released an open domain chatbot called Blender. I think Google also released one called Mina. And also GPT-3, there are a few open domain chatbots, I think, that are built on GPT-3. And actually, Google just released one, Lambda, which I'm not sure is public yet, but they released that last week at the Google I/O conference. So what an open domain chatbot is, you can talk to it about anything. It will try to adapt to the conversation, or try to adapt to what the topic of the conversation is, and try to ask you follow-up questions, about what you've said. So what I did was we have Facebook Blender model available and deployed, and we've connected this to the phone gateway like I showed before. And let's see how well this goes. I've tested this once and I have no idea how this is going to go, so let's give it a go. So I'm going to call in.
Hi, my name is Sam. Nice to meet you. What do you do for fun?
I like to watch anime.
That's cool. I like anime too. What kind of anime do you like the most?
Well, I've just watched Full Metal Alchemist.
I've never heard of that one. Is it a comedy? I like comedies.
No, it's not. Can you tell me more about yourself?
Sure. I'm a software developer. What about you? What do you do for a living?
That's really cool. I'm a software developer as well.
That's cool. What kind of software do you develop? I work on web applications.
I work on artificial intelligence applications. What kind of web applications do you build?
Mostly user interfaces. It's a lot of fun. Do you have any hobbies?
Cool. So that was just a little demo of a completely open, that was unscripted. I just made that up on the spot. I honestly had no idea what the responses were going to be. So yeah, so this is where AI is heading towards. It's not quite ready yet, the open domain part, but you can imagine once we can really harness this power, we can direct the bot to be a lot more on brand. That's when we can start bringing it into the commercial world as well. But this is what Spark 64 Labs is working on and playing with at the moment. Cool. So I don't know if anyone had any questions about that demo. Feel free to put your hands up. If not, thanks again, everyone, for joining today, and hope you enjoy the rest of the day.